I'm Kelly and this is Kelly Hill Yoga. Welcome back to my farm here in Southwest Virginia. Today is an absolutely beautiful day. So today's practice is going to be super awesome, just like the weather today. A very special person requested a really great practice to open up our chest and shoulders. Those of you who might have some limited mobility just from being really tight across the chest, our pec muscles, shoulders, neck. So we're going to show some love to our upper body, neck, across the chest and shoulders today in this practice. So when you're ready, come to a nice easy pose on your mat, and we'll start really simple today, not overthinking today's practice. This is really just about opening up this heart space across our chest in order to receive this practice today, and then also to take it into the rest of our day as well. So just come to this beautiful easy pose. Maybe you're outside too, enjoying the wonderful sunshine, letting this soft breeze gently guide me into today's practice. Hopefully you are gently guided in with your breath today. Just let your hands gently rest on the mat, and let's take a moment to really set our posture, almost overemphasizing having the shoulders pulled down and away from the ears, heart over your pelvis and your head directly over that heart. Imagine somebody is pulling from the crown of your head to lift you up towards the sky. So just hanging out here, being mindful of the breath, and we'll set ourselves and set our intention for today through 3 really great grounding and cleansing breaths. So deep inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Elongate that inhale and match the exhale by elongating it as well. Wonderful. And now with the breath, let's just start gently moving the shoulders. So we're going to take them really high up towards the ears and actively pull them down and away. Imagine you're trying to get them to touch the ground as we come down in the shoulder circles, rolling them forward, up, crunching towards the ears, down behind, towards the ground. Really purposeful and deliberate in this movement, almost over exaggerating the shoulder movement, but without doing it in the spine, so we're not rolling. It's just our shoulders that are moving. Wonderful. On our next inhale, let's take a really deep breath. Reach those arms nice and high. Wiggle the fingers. Exhale, reach over to the right. Just getting some natural movement in our spine. Awesome. Gently come back to center. Both arms up and overhead again. Left arm comes down to the mat. Right arm reaches over. Awesome. Gently come back to center. Both arms up and overhead. Cactus arms. Bend the elbows, pulling your shoulder blades together, and repeating this for a few rounds. So imagine that there is a wall behind you, or in fact go and sit up against a wall and just have your forearms, the backs of your arms slide along that wall or imaginary wall, really opening up the front side of our chest here, waking everything up. Try not to let those shoulders creep up towards the ears. We're keeping a nice long neck. Awesome. Gently, last one. Repeat. Now that we're nice and woken up, let's just shake it out a little here. And then we're going to stretch our neck a little bit because our neck and shoulders are very interconnected. So when we hold tension in one place, we often hold it in the other as well. So let's reach the left hand out, fingers spread well, and then take the right ear over to the right shoulder. Feel awesome stretch, maybe even playing around by lifting the chin up towards your space and then pulling that chin back down towards the earth, kind of just a side head nod. Awesome. Slowly bring that neck back to neutral. And then let's take it to the other side. So our right hand's going to reach out, fingers spread well, and take that left ear over to the left shoulder, staying here or playing around by gently lowering the chin and slowly rising it up towards your space. Just playing around. Waking our neck up, waking our shoulders up in the seated pose before we get into some really awesome openers. And for this last little seated shoulder opener, I'm going to flip around so you can see what I'm doing from behind. So we're going to take our right hand, place it at the small of our back, and then grab our right wrist with our left hand. And then if this is enough, you can stay here or maybe just slowly, gently guide that right hand over to the left. Pulling on it just a little bit. Don't overstrain or overstress. Try and keep your chest and front of your body really nice and open here. Not bending forward to do this. Holding for one round of breath. And then gently release and take it to the other side. So bring that left hand behind just at the small of your back. The right hand will grab the wrist or your left wrist. Maybe staying here nice and broad across the chest, or if you choose, gently slide that left hand over towards the right. Awesome. Release that. Shake everything out. And I'll come back to face you all. And we will meet in tabletop. So running through some stretches and strengthening exercises here. First, we'll start out with a few rounds of cat and cow, just waking up the spine, getting things moving, getting the blood moving, matching breath to movement. So inhale to drop the belly, lift the chin. Really stretching in the neck to lift that chin nice and high. Exhale, round through the belly. Inhale, chin comes up, dropping that belly, cow pose. Exhale, roll through that spine, up like a cat that's scared. And just repeat this motion as many times as you like, maybe finding some extra little bit of movement. Keeping this your practice, getting creative, maybe just shifting the hips a little bit. Just however you want to get any little tweaks or tight tension you might be holding anywhere to wake yourself up before we start to move into like the meat and potatoes of today's practice. So today is all about opening up the chest, our heart space. We can become so incredibly tight, especially when we're on our devices, computers, sitting at work. Everything becomes very anteriorly rotated, getting really tight across the chest and almost lengthened and loosened across the back, causing weak muscles, strain in the neck. Just a never-ending list of problems when we're holding so much tension and stress in our shoulders. So today it's all about fixing that, setting up our posture. All right, so let's come back to a neutral tabletop. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Take a moment to really pull the shoulders down and away from the ears. So imagine you're trying to hold a little pencil between your shoulder blades right now. So nice and strong and stable, squeezing that pencil there. And then we're going to exhale, bend the elbows back towards the thigh. Inhale to press the earth away. Exhale, bend the elbows back towards the thigh. And we're going to repeat this a few rounds, staying strong, keeping our shoulder girdle really activated, just having this motion from the bend at the elbows. Really great job. Awesome. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Bring it back up to the top of that tabletop. Now we're going to do some shoulder girdle push-ups. So if you need to watch me do it one round, that's totally okay. Now we're not going to pinch that pencil between the shoulder blades anymore. In fact, we're going to separate the shoulder blades by pushing into the earth. So push your mat, act like you're pushing it away, and feel those shoulder blades separate. And then pull your chest towards the earth without bending the elbows, right? So this is all just from our shoulders. Push the mat away, pull the chest towards the earth. Push the mat away, chest towards the earth. Awesome. Repeat this for a few rounds. Try not to let those shoulders walk up towards the ears. Still keep that neck nice and long. And we're also not bending in the elbows. This is all just from the shoulders. Very subtle movement, but man, oh man, are my shoulders screaming right now, waking everything up. Awesome. Last one. Beautiful. Coming back to that tabletop. And let's just take a second, come off those hands, shake it out just a little to release that tension we had going on. Maybe swinging the arms forward and back. Release. Come back to our tabletop. Ready to set up for our next nice shoulder opener and stretch. So reach our right arm up before we thread the needle, opening up the shoulders and chest. Then we're going to thread that right arm underneath the left, stretching all along the outside of our right shoulder. Hanging out here for one round of breath. Awesome. Unravel, reach that right arm back up, reopening. Bring everything back down. So taking it to the other side, left arm goes up nice and high, reaching, really opening our chest. Exhale, thread that left hand underneath the right. Wonderful. Staying here just for one round of breath as we open and stretch our shoulders. Awesome. Left arm goes back up, reopening everything. Exhale, bring everything back down. Now let's just roll through a few rounds of alternating arm and leg lifts. So really pushing into the mat with our right hand. Reach that left hand up. The right leg is going to go out. Keep those toes pointed down. Exhale, bring that elbow to knee. Inhale to open up and extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. Extend. Knee to elbow. Extend. And on this last one, keep everything extended. And then we are going to grab the right ankle with our left hand and come into this modified or this fun little tiger pose. Really feeling an awesome stretch across our left side of our chest, heart space, kicking that right foot towards the back of our space and up. Awesome. Gently release, bring everything back down and reset. So maybe just shaking things out before we take it to the other side. So our right arm is going to reach forward, really push into the mat with that left to stay nice and grounded. Our left leg will extend, toes pointed down. Exhale, bring that right elbow to the left knee. Inhale, expand. Exhale, right elbow to the knee. Expand. Try not to drop your belly here or shift around too much. Staying strong and stable in the core as we activate. Just get some strong core movement here in today's practice. Awesome. On that last one, stay nice and extended and then reach back, grabbing that left ankle and kicking that foot into your hand in order to really open up our right shoulder. Awesome. exhale to release. Bring everything down and keeping the knees underneath the hips. Let's walk the hands out nice and wide. You might need to shift around a little, and we'll come into puppy pose. So trying to keep those knees underneath the hips as much as possible. Hands are out in front of us, and then we're going to guide that chest towards the mat. This is a great one if you want to rest your forehead on a block, or maybe even your chest on a block. Just really opening up the whole front side of our body and getting some natural movement in the spine in this pose. We will be here for just a few moments. So just be sure to not overstrain, overstress anything in the shoulder. Shoulders are very sensitive to injury, so please be mindful of any tweaks or tension. Come out of any pose if something feels funny or you have any little tinge of pain or pinching. But practices like this are just absolutely wonderful. Like I said, for opening up the whole front side of our body, especially when we become so anterior related, everything shortens and weakens. So just getting ourselves back to that natural anatomical position is just so healthy and wonderful to incorporate into your practice in everyday lives. Awesome. Let's gently come out of that puppy pose, nice and slow. And this time we're slowly going to come all the way back into child's pose. So take the knees a little wide, and then we'll walk those hands out in front of us and just come up onto the fingertips to feel an even more amazing stretch in this child's pose, really waken things up. And then let's walk those fingertips over to the right just a little to get a nice stretch in the left side body. And then walk those fingertips over to the left, nice and slow. Not doing too much movement here since we're up on the fingertips and it can be a little bit more intense. So it's just very subtle in our little side stretch. Awesome. Now let's come off those shoulders. Bring your hands back towards the feet and rest that forehead on the mat. Take a deep inhale to expand your chest, expand that heart space. Feel your lungs provide an additional stretch as you really fill them up. Exhale to release and really empty out that heart space. 3 good rounds of breath there. Expand and release. Expand and release. Awesome. Let's gently come out of that child's pose. Nice and slow. We will make our way to a downward dog. Our first downward dog of the practice. So if you're like me, I'm notoriously tight all on the back center of my legs. So I always need to have lots of movements, lots of shimmies and shakes in my first downward dog, and know that it's not just about forcing yourself to get into that pose. You have to kind of work your way to get there. It's just the beautiful thing about yoga, because there's no tight restrictions or rules, no right way or perfect way to get into a pose, just whatever your body will allow, whatever your body wants to give you today. So once you find yourself in your downward dog, take a moment here to find stillness. Awesome. We're just going to do a couple of spine rolls. So you might want to walk your hands a little bit forward here in this downward dog. So we're going to come up onto the toes, acting like we're lifting our hips and booty up towards the sky, shifting forward into plank. Holding for 1 round of breath. Exhale, shift those hips up and back, downward dog. Repeating that. So coming up on the toes, rolling our spine into that plank, nice and strong. Exhale, shift the hips up and back, downward dog. Last one. And on this one, keep your shoulders nice and strong. Roll up and into that plank. And we're going to hold here. And in this hold, make sure you're really pushing the mat away to keep those shoulders nice and strong. I know you guys can do this. I'm sure everything is screaming and shaking right now. You're doing a really great job. And we're holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Shifting those hips up and back, downward dog. Awesome. Now we're going to take a deep inhale, bend the knees, take the gaze forward, and let's slowly walk towards the top of our mat. Feet are nice and hip width apart, and we're hanging out in this forward fold. Let's really let gravity do the work here. So our head is heavy, arms are really nice and heavy. You should feel your shoulders really rolling forward as the earth is just pulling everything down. Hanging out here, maybe swaying back and forth. And then we're going to slowly roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. Imagine that you have blocks, and your spine are those blocks. The vertebrae are stacking one on top of the other. So we slowly roll all the way up. Cervical spine last. Shoulders down and away as we present ourselves to this beautiful practice today, thanking our bodies with our minds. Awesome. Take a deep inhale, reach both arms up and overhead. Exhale, clasp the hands at your back. So, show you really quick, our hands are nice and low at our back. We're really opening up across the chest, so we're not keeping those shoulders like this. As much as you can, get those shoulders rolled back and away. Really opening up our pecs. If you need to have a strap, if you can't get those hands clasped together, just having a strap on either side hanging out here is great shoulder opener as well. Always modifications in yoga, and that's just another thing that's just so amazing about it. So we're clasped, hands are clasped forward. Choose to stay here, or if you want, let's hinge at the hips and fold forward. Really opening things up now. Choose to stay here, or if you want, bend in the left knee and shift over to the right. Opening up the shoulders here for a little gentle twist. Or staying in that forward fold. This is just as important and purposeful. Awesome. Maybe taking it to the other side. Bending the right knee, straightening the left. Awesome. Let's gently release. If you were standing, come into a forward fold. Let those arms hang heavy again, getting that blood moving back down to them, maybe shimming and shaking them just a little bit. Awesome. We're going to inhale to halfway lift. So our hands are going to be on our shins or thighs. Really broad across the chest, crown of the head pulled forward. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to root to rise. Arms up and overhead. Hands to our heart space. Wonderful. Really thinking about our practice, why we're here today. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Totally okay if you want to be on the knees. Inhale to push the earth away. Exhale, bend the elbows, come all the way down to the mat. Hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale to rise to a little baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. Inhale to rise, finding a little bit more height. Exhale, lower down. Inhale to rise, maybe finding even more height. Exhale, slowly lower down. And then we'll meet in downward dog. So shifting the hips up and back to downward dog. Awesome job, everyone. Beautiful. And now let's just walk the hands back a little bit, maybe taking a really heavy bend in the knees. And let's take the right hand over to the left ankle. So I know we're talking about doing some openers and opening across the chest, but it's really important to do counterintuitive poses or counter poses in a practice. So now we're getting a nice stretch across the shoulders, the back of the shoulders. Gently release, and then take that left hand over to the right ankle. Getting an awesome stretch. And knowing sometimes it helps if you're feeling a little tension in this to have a really great bend in the knees, or even walk the hands a little bit closer to the feet. Awesome. Let's come back to that normal downward dog. Reset ourselves. Inhale to reach that right leg up. Exhale, take that right knee to the nose with control. Gently step between the hands, runner's lunge. And now let's take that back foot and set it up to come into warrior one. So the heel is going to drop down. It's going to be about 45 degrees. And we're going to rise up into this warrior one. Nice and strong. Pulling that left hip forward. Really activated in both feet. Adjusting if you need. If you need to have the feet a little bit wider, more train tracks, you're more than welcome to. Now, let's bring the hands behind the back, opening up the chest once again. Choose to stay here, or if you need a strap to hold the hands behind your back, do that as well. Stay here if this is enough, or if you want, let's come down into humble warrior. So hinging at the hips, bringing your torso forward towards that right thigh. We're not resting on it though, we're next to it, nice and strong in our legs, letting that head hang heavy. Or if you want to come a little bit deeper, you're more than welcome to. Staying here, nice and strong and stable for a few rounds of breath. Try not to dump and have weight anywhere. You are very balanced right now, active everywhere. Awesome. And now, keeping our hands where they are, let's hop that back foot up and transition into warrior three with this hand variation. Won't be here long. Nice and strong here. Keeping the hands clasped behind the back. If you fall out, just reset yourself and come back in. Awesome. Really great job. Release and bring everything down into a forward fold. So our left foot comes to meet the right in this forward fold. Awesome. Feel all that blood rush back down to the hands, maybe shaking things out a little. Awesome. And now let's inhale, root to rise, arms up and overhead. Exhale, bring our hands to our heart space. And now we are going to come into eagle pose. So if you want, you can do a regular chair pose here, sitting the hips down and away. Or coming into eagle, you're going to cross the left foot over the right, choosing to wrap however many times you want, or maybe even using that left foot as a kickstand, and then we're going to wrap the arms too. So the left elbow is going to come underneath the right. Nice and strong here. Really thinking about having those hips nice and sunk back. You're really strong in your legs. Feel that stretch across the back of our shoulders as you drive those elbows up towards the sky. Awesome. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, release. Whew. Lower everything down, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to plant the hands, step back to plank. Inhale, push the earth away. Exhale, bend the elbows, come all the way down to the belly. Hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, rise, little baby cobra. Exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale, rise, maybe finding a little bit more height. Exhale, lower down. Last one. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower down. Awesome job. We'll meet back in our downward dog as we take it to the other side. Find your intention and purpose here. If the mind has started to wander, if you've started to compare yourself or beat yourself up with negative thoughts, please give yourself some love and appreciation for this beautiful practice you are doing. And also know it is okay to modify. Please take breaks when you need them. I need breaks all the time. It's totally okay. Awesome. Let's inhale to reach that left leg up. Exhale with control, knee to nose. Slowly step into that runner's lunge. Setting the feet up for warrior one. Dropping that back foot down about 45 degrees. Inhale to rise to this warrior one. Nice and strong, really grounded through both feet. Torso is forward in your space. Bringing the hands behind the back. Staying here or transition by shifting the hips or shifting at the hips. Bringing that torso down into humble warrior. Great job. Staying strong in your legs. Like I said before, keeping everything very balanced, not dumping on any one part of your body. Keeping awareness everywhere. As we stay here for a few rounds of breath. Awesome. And now, keeping our hands just how they are, let's hop that back foot up. Really ground into the left foot. Set yourself up before you lift that back leg into warrior three. My balance is definitely not where it needs to be today, but that's okay. Staying strong and stable. Gently bring everything down. Forward fold. Let those arms hang heavy. Awesome. Let that blood come back down. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, root to rise. Arms up and overhead. And then now we're going to take it to the other side for this eagle pose. So our right leg is going to cross over the left and our right elbow underneath the left. Basically the opposite of what we just did with our arms, keeping our practice balanced within. Staying strong and stable here. Wonderful job. Unravel. Bring everything down. Forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Last time we're going to run through these three little baby cobras. Exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. Hands under the shoulders. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, rise, finding a little more height. Exhale, lower down. Inhale to rise, maybe even coming into full cobra. Since this is the last of our practice, we should be nice and warm. Gently activate the glutes. If you feel a little bit in your low back, exhale, lower all the way down. Awesome job. Let's bring the hips down and back for child's pose. Awesome. Bring the hands back towards the feet. And just do a few rounds of breath here. Notice a shift or change in your energy from that child's pose we did a little while ago. Do you feel more open? Is your heart pumping? Awesome. We're going to do a little bookend pose. So we're going to run through puppy one more time just to show you how nice and open you can be just from a few minutes on the mat together. Change in your posture, change in how wonderful your shoulders might feel. So knees underneath the hips and bring that chest towards the ground, really opening things up. And since we are more warmed up, just be mindful of overstretching. So don't force yourself that now that we are warm to strain or stress. Just notice how a little bit of movement and really creating space can provide such a change. Awesome. Let's walk those hands all the way back and come to sit on the heels. This is one of my absolute favorite stretches. It just really shows some love to the bottom of our feet by stretching them out, something we just don't do so very often in our normal lives. So if this is too intense, you're more than welcome to find another easy seat, but I just love this for getting an awesome stretch in my feet. So let's reach both arms up and overhead, grab the right elbow with the left hand, and get an awesome stretch in our right arm, or the back side of our right arm, or tricep. If you want to, maybe shift your torso a little over to the left, get an extra stretch. Awesome. Gently release. Take it to the other side. So grabbing the left elbow with the right hand, trying to keep that hand at the small of your back, between the shoulder blades. If you can reach it to the small of your back, you're a superhero. But this is just practices like today, what we are doing here, just like I said, wonderful at resetting our posture, getting everything back anatomically correct, and also great ancillary little practices if you're working on your back bends. Sometimes it's not just about that spinal movement, it's about opening up the front side of the body. So let's bring everything down, shake everything out, maybe even do those little arm swings that we did at the beginning of our practice. As we start to close today's practice. Awesome. And we will close in child's pose today. So however you want to have your knees, if you want to have them nice and wide or close together, just find that comfortable, somewhere where you know you can be in comfort and have just the mind activated, no little fidgeting or tweaks going on in the body, just really relaxed, very grounded. And in fact, let's bring the hands back towards the feet. Have the shoulders nice and relaxed and melted towards the earth, hips heavy. This is a great one if you have a pillow to rest your head and chest on a pillow or a block. Just find a way to feel extremely connected and grounded. Like gravity is basically holding you in place, not your muscle tension. Just everything is deactivated, really heavy. We'll finish our practice just how we started with 3 beautiful breaths. Deep inhale, elongated exhale, in and out through the nose. Please stay here for a few moments in this wonderful rested state, letting gravity do the work. Don't let your mind wander. If it does, just gently go back to that breath, telling yourself to inhale and exhale. This is just as important as the movement in a practice. When we rest, our body recovers, resynthesizes, just really comes back to that homeostasis that it's always trying to achieve. This is where I will leave you. Please, please comment below. Let me know what you thought of today's practice. As always, thank you, thank you, thank you. Do not forget to subscribe to Kelly Hill Yoga. Like this video. I'll see you on the next round. Thank you, and I love you.